The heavy metal door at the back of the enclosure quietly clicks open. A zookeeper steps out into the sunlight. On a mountain filled with dozens of macaques, most of the adult monkeys barely even react. But instantly, from across the rocks, one specific little monkey stops exactly what he is doing. He drops his food. He turns his head. And without a second of hesitation, Punch makes a beeline straight for the human in the uniform. He doesn't approach with the cautious, fearful body language he uses around the alpha males. He practically runs. He moves to the threshold of the door, looking up at the zookeeper. The man the internet affectionately calls his keeper dad. If you watch his face in this moment, you see something that breaks your heart into a million pieces. You see absolute, unfiltered trust. He is looking at this human being not just as a source of food, but as a source of ultimate safety. We watch this unfold, and our human instinct screams at us. We want the zookeeper to reach down. We want him to scoop Punch up into his arms, hold him tight, and tell him that he never has to face the bullies on the mountain ever again. But what happens next is the hardest part to watch. The zookeeper does not pick him up. He does not pet him. He finishes his task, he steps back inside the building. And the heavy metal door closes right in front of Punch. Punch is left sitting on the outside, staring at the closed door before slowly turning around to face the troop again. Why did the zookeeper walk away? Why couldn't he just give this brave little survivor one single hug? Today, we are going to look at the heartbreaking reality of primate rescue and discover why that closed door is actually the greatest act of love Punch will ever receive. To understand why Punch ran to the door in the first place, we have to look at the events of the past few weeks. Monkey Mountain has been an incredibly volatile place recently. Punch has faced brutal, coordinated attacks from the dominant females. He has been chased, cornered, and physically injured. His entire daily existence requires an exhausting amount of hypervigilance. He has to constantly calculate his distance from the alphas, constantly monitor the mood of the matriarchs, and constantly fight for his own space. It is a stressful, demanding life. But the zookeepers? The zookeepers represent a completely different world. In Punch's mind, the human in the uniform is the only creature that has never hurt him. When he was a fragile infant, it was the humans who stepped in to keep him alive. It was the humans who provided him with a quiet space to heal when the mountain became too violent. So, when the tension out on the rocks becomes too heavy to bear, his biological instinct is to seek the path of least resistance. He runs to the door. He runs to the keeper dad because, in his mind, behind that door lies a world where he doesn't have to fight. A world where he doesn't have to be a tough, resilient juvenile. He can just be safe. It is the most relatable emotion in the world. When life gets overwhelmingly hard, we all want to run to a place where we are unconditionally protected. But Monkey Mountain is not a fairy tale. It is a strictly governed animal society. And if the zookeepers were to open that door and treat him like a human child, they would be signing his death warrant. In the science of wildlife rehabilitation, there is a very specific, highly dangerous psychological phenomenon known as imprinting. When a young animal is raised exclusively by humans and receives physical affection and comfort from humans, their brain makes a fatal error. They stop identifying as their own species and they begin to identify as human. They lose the ability to speak the subtle, non-verbal language of their own kind. If the zookeeper had reached down and hugged Punch, if he had picked him up and stroked his fur every time Punch ran to the door, Punch would have never learned how to be a macaque. He would never have learned how to use tactical ignoring to avoid an alpha male. He would never have learned how to gently lip smack to make friends with the new babies. He would never have learned how to forge his own alliances. He would just wait by the metal door all day, expecting a human to solve all of his problems. But there is an even darker consequence to this. The adult macaques on the mountain are watching everything. If the dominant males and the matriarch see a juvenile monkey getting special treatment, physical affection, and protection from humans, they will never, ever accept him into the troop. In their eyes, an animal that belongs to the humans is an outsider. He becomes a permanent outcast. And the moment the humans leave and the zoo closes for the night, the troop would relentlessly attack him for being different. This is the agonizing reality the zookeepers face every single day. Imagine how much willpower it takes for that keeper dad to look at this sweet, brave little monkey looking up at him and force himself to walk away. It must break his heart. He knows that Punch just wants a moment of comfort. But the keeper also knows that his job is not to make Punch into a pet. His job is to make Punch into a survivor. This is what makes the scene at the door so incredibly powerful. It isn't a story about rejection. It is a story about the ultimate form of tough love. When the door closes, Punch has a choice to make. He can sit at the door and cry, waiting for it to open again. Or he can turn around. Watch what he does. He turns around. He looks back at the massive, intimidating structure of Monkey Mountain. He sees the dominant females. He sees the alpha males. He knows exactly how dangerous it is out there. But he takes a breath and he steps away from the door. He walks back out onto the rocks. This is where true bravery is forged. Every time the zookeepers close that door, they are forcing Punch to rely on his own brilliant mind. They are forcing him to go out and build his own relationships with the troop. They are trusting that the intelligence inside of him is strong enough to figure out the puzzle of macaque society. And he is proving them right. He is learning how to shadow the older monkeys. He is learning how to forage independently. He is earning his place in the hierarchy, not because a human handed it to him, but because he fought for it with his own two hands. The closed door isn't a punishment. It is a boundary that protects his wild soul. It is the zookeepers silently saying to him, "You are strong enough to do this on your own." Watching this relationship between Punch and his human caretakers is one of the most profound, emotionally complex things we can witness on this channel. It teaches us that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to let them fight their own battles, so they can realize how strong they truly are. Punch is becoming a magnificent, self-reliant young macaque. And he is doing it exactly as nature intended. I would love to hear from you today. When you see Punch running to the keeper dad, how does it make your heart feel? Do you agree that closing the door and letting him learn to be a wild monkey is the greatest act of love the zookeepers can offer? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I always love reading how this community interprets these deeply emotional moments. I also want to give a quick, heartfelt thank you to our channel members. Your support is what allows me to spend the time analyzing this footage and making these documentaries. If you enjoy this content and want to help support the channel, you can become a sponsor by clicking the join button below or checking the link pinned in the comments. Please leave a like on this video to show your support for Punch's incredible bravery, and make sure to subscribe to Catto Luna so we can continue watching him conquer his world. Thank you for your beautiful, empathetic hearts. We will see you in the next video.